Hey, how you doing today? It's the Tishy and Nana show. Honest, I was just sitting here doing my thing. Tishy was curled up in her kitty cave, and 5 minutes to four, out she comes, right up here, knowing it's time for our video. Oh, so glad to see you again. I know Monday I cut you off short so I could go to my sister's just in case the power went out, which it did not. Probably the first time I decide to stay home and not go to my sister's, the power will go out and I'll be stuck here. But enough of that. We came through everything okay. Tishy did very well going to my sister's, and had she stayed in the little upstairs bedroom they let me use when there's a storm coming. It's my storm cover. Oh, I did. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm glad you miss seeing me each day, and I miss doing it. But I also put the time to some good use. I did some catch up work on my sister's computer for the campground web page, and I did get a little monkey made. This is one of my tiny ones, and I decided it's getting to be time for getting the camp store ready, and I sell these in the camp store. And it's funny because this little guy is like, I don't know, probably 7 inches tall, and not quite finished. I'm going to put on a little hair, may put on a little outfit. These are things that I make. Everything is handmade. Everything that I make it with, everything that I can use in it is made in America. Now, there's a funny thing about this little guy, though. You can get things in the store way cheaper. As a matter of fact, this one, excuse me, I sell for $25. Now, that seems like $25 for a monkey that can sit in your hand. Yes, because you have no idea. These little ones just as difficult to make as the large ones, especially when everything is hand stitched. The reason I like to make sure I hand stitch everything is because I believe everything we touch, we put our energy into, and I put a lot of love. Now Cheryl said she loved the little heart on its chest. Well, it's more than that. That's like my trade work. I call these guys monkey shines. They're Soxy pals, and everyone has a heart. And if you look close, you have to look really close because you don't just see it if you just look. It's got like a cross stitched in the middle. It's just the way I do the stitching. And it means that God loves you and so do I. So there is our little Soxy pal that I got done. I got a couple other ones that I did some work on that, including the one that I was showing you how to do. So, well, life, we're doing our best to make sure life is good. And that's going to bring me to our National Day calendar. And today it commemorates the day the music died. Now, if you're younger, you probably won't relate to this at all. But if you're older, um, that is the day that it was 1959 when Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper all died in a plane crash. And until forever, I will always also remember it as um, right after my mom passed. My mom died on the evening of February 2nd, and Groundhog Day, bless your little heart. And the next day, I had to write my musing, and I wrote it on the day the music died. And one of the reasons that was very meaningful to me is because we used to, my mom loved to sing. She just sang. She used to put on little shows at civic organizations and local clubs and stuff like that. And but when she was getting late into her well, we're not even late, and we did it for a number of years before she passed away. But we would play a game, which I think I probably told you guys about before. It's called HUMMM ... And it's a humming game. And the idea is you hum a song or la la a song, and somebody else has to guess it. Well, if you are dealing with anybody that has dementia or Alzheimer's and they're losing their memory, that music is rooted in. You see, it's the shorter term memory that goes, but the long term is the last to go. So even if they don't remember you, they may remember a song. And we just, for years before she passed away, we would go to, well, it was the assisted living, and then it was the convalescent home where she lived, and we would play Humble. First, we played with the board. It's like a board game, a trivia game with the little pieces, and you'd guess, you'd draw cards for different periods of time and different topics. And we got to the point where we just used the cards, and then if we didn't bring the cards, we just bring a list of old songs. And she remembered them pretty much up through the into the 80s. But I don't know how to tell you this. I'm not good with songs after the 80s myself. Something happened to music. For me, it just wasn't that singable or memorable, or I didn't know the lyrics, or I wouldn't dare say those lyrics. But she could remember things, even Yellow Submarine and Puff the Magic Dragon, and you go back to Daisy, Daisy on Bicycle Built for Two. And so, if you have anyone in your life that's experiencing that, I urge you to, if nothing else, print out tons and tons of titles, and if you need them, lyrics from old songs. And it makes the meetings, the visits, so much better. Because when we used to go to visit my mom, and we'd sit there and she'd say, "So, how's everybody doing?" And you'd tell her how everybody's doing, and then she'd, "Very good. How's everybody doing? Just tell me." I just said. So this just made the visits way more meaningful, and it stirred up other memories. And so the day the music died was in my life a day that some of the music died. But if you watch my videos, you're always seeing me sing songs that I relate to topics. So I carry it on. Okay, it is also National Carrot Cake Day. Well, I'm not doing that today. Uh, I was going to look up a recipe, but then I got involved in some of my other things on my goals list today. It is National Girls and Women in Sports Days. Now, one of the reasons that I want to make a point of bringing that up today is that you may not be aware of it, but women in sports still do not get paid anywhere near what men get paid for doing the same sports and everything. I saw a video on it one day, and the commentator was trying to make it equal. Well, actually, men's sports draw a higher crowd, and they had all the stats that said not true. Well, men have it tougher. Not true. So let's remember, when we say, it's time for equality, don't you think it's time for equality? Remember the battles between uh, Billy, Billy Joe King, and now I had his name first, and Bobby Fischer, but no, he's the chess guy. Well, Billy Joe King, she had these tennis matches, and it was always a battle of the sexes. Okay, it is also um, Missing Persons Day. And if you've never had a missing person in your life, I can't even imagine the pain. In 2016, at that point, 5 years ago, there were 88,440 active missing person cases. I don't know what they are today, but let's just hold those people in prayer who, now you see it, now you don't. and they may never see them again. You know, it could be that something awful happened to them. It could be they're in the witness, protection program. My shoulders are cockeyed. I can't fix them. I'm gonna sit like this, fix my shoulders. Maybe the seat I'm sitting on. Anyway, we do want to keep in mind those who have lost someone as, and you know what? Sometimes we also tend to lose people in our lives intentionally or not intentionally. They kind of just fade into the past. And so go through your old address book, look folks up on Facebook, give them a call, write them a letter, do whatever you can because you might just reconnect with someone that you really wish wasn't missing in your life. So that's pretty much it for that. And then I don't know if I told you, but I got my first vaccine last week and very excited. My next one's coming up February 27th. Then a few weeks after that, I'm going to feel a little bit more comfortable. Still doing the masking up and social distancing because that's just, uh, there still is, first of all, a 95% chance that you won't get it means there's a 5% chance that you might. And until we get those numbers down to where it's no longer a threat, we got to do what we got to do, folks. That's the way it goes. And, in the page, when you go to the page for National Day calendar, I found a recipe. I didn't notice they had a recipe. I don't know if they have a recipe every day or not, but I'm going to have to look further now. But they found a recipe that really kind of, I went, oh my gosh. And it is for uh, tomato sauce with jerky. Can you imagine that? Um, okay, let's see. Oh, daughter received her second shot. She's feeling a little warm and tired, but took some Albi. I don't know what that is, and she's feeling better. Well, that's good. Very good. I'll leave. And autofill. Well, that's good. So I had no reaction but a sore arm to the first one, and I'm going to hope the second one goes as well. But getting back to our tomato jerky sauce, I wanted to talk for a minute about trying things and jerky. And honestly, don't remember if I've talked to you about this before, but I knew I meant to. So this is vegetarian jerky. It's made with soy. It is hang on a minute. The expiration date on it was January 2nd, 121, 2018. It's kind of 3 years old. Never was open. And I said, well, there's no warnings about it. So I said, let me give it a try. It was just like I kept going, oh, vegetarian jerky. I don't know. I don't know if I had to push to give it that try. Oh, my stars. I'm in love. I'm in love. And now I'm almost out. And I got it through the company where I get my vegetarian meat products that it's kind of costly to have them shipped and something, but I got a feeling there's jerky on my horizon because it was so good. Okay. Um, well, so that was my basic things I wanted to share today. I hope you are all keeping up with taking good care of yourself, getting plenty of rest. Oh, another thing I did is I heard that vitamin D is very good for keeping. We all know that, especially now winter, we're not outside so much, we don't get so much. So I got the vitamin D, and then I thought, oh, I looked it up on the internet just to make sure is it okay to just take it without asking your doctor. So I didn't open it. I asked my doctor, and my doctor said that, yeah, you probably need it. So I will be taking my vitamin D. Always remember before you take something, check with your doctor. Even if it's just a vitamin, it could interact with something um, that you're already taking, even if it's other vitamins. Another thing, remember when they tell you take it with food, don't take it on an empty stomach, which I learned the hard way. Boy, taking an empty stomach that says you don't feel so hot after, especially, oh my stars, if it is vitamin B12 or the B complex. Oh my goodness. You have to take that on a full stomach, because if not, it hits your system. And I would like break out in hot spots, like on my elbows, on my forehead. So, yeah, follow the directions, even if it's just the vitamin. The other thing which I did find out is the reason you're supposed to take it with food, some things with food, is so that you get maximum absorption of the vitamin or the medication. So, what are you going to do? Follow the directions. Not one of those cases where if all else fails, follow the directions. No, follow the directions first. All right, so that said, I I plan to be ahead of the game right now, so that I thought you might like for me to read my story to you. Excuse me. It made it into the contest, and I won't know until April 5th if I am able to carry on. So a little prayer too that I'll keep moving on. That couldn't hurt. Um, so we'll just see what happens. And again, please remember, I consider that I have already won simply because I finished it. Anytime we start something and we finish it, job well done. So I thought maybe you would like to hear the story. If you don't want to hear the story, I will say, have a great day. I hope to see you tomorrow. If you do wish to hear the story, I'm going to bring it up and read it to you. It's a little longer than the usual ones because I had to do 2,500 words. If I make it to the next level, that'll be fewer words. But again, if you didn't see the video the other day, I didn't like the genre, which was spy. I was very challenged by how you would write a spy story. I wasn't thrilled with the subject, which was an acquisition, and the and then the one of the topics was arsonist. The character was an arsonist. So here we go. For those of you who want the story, just settle back in. You might want to close your eyes so you're not watching me read, but unless that floats your boat. All right, here we go. First, I got to find it. There it is. Okay. The title of the story is The Spy Who Couldn't. And it might be a little jumpy because I don't have my mouse, so I'm kind of trusting my little cursor button thing to bring me down. Okay. Leo sat on the edge of the bed, revolver in hand. The moment had arrived. There was no turning back. Life as a failure was no longer an option. He flipped open the cylinder, fully loaded, which he figured was a good thing since he'd never be able to muster up courage for a second try. The gun felt heavy in his hand, heavier than he'd remembered. He lifted it to his head. His hand trembled severely. The image of Barney Fife, comedic TV cop, wagging his gun flashed through his mind. He chuckled, as unfunny as the moment was. The thought of a misfire and the potential of life as a vegetable was a fate worse than death. His hand, which still gripped the gun, fell to his lap. Shit, I can't even kill myself. Failure was not an option, nor was he backing out. He lifted the gun again and leaned the ice-cold barrel against his temple to steady it. He mentally demanded his finger to pull the trigger. Bang! For the briefest moment, the stunned man wondered if he was dead. Then, shaken, realized it was the backfire of a truck in front of his apartment building. It was all too much. He quivered so hard it was as if his bones had turned to jelly. Before he could catch his breath, a loud banging on his door made him take notice. Okay, and I'm sorry, but I lost my little thing. Okay, all right. The banging on his door made him feel like he'd jumped right out of his skin. Uncle Leo, open the door. I know you're in there. Leo cursed under his breath. Shit. Then called out to his niece. Come in, come in. The door's not locked. It's open. Don't break it down for God's sake. He returned the gun to the dresser drawer just as his niece burst into the room, agitated. Good God, Uncle Leo, this place smells like a chicken coop. She threw open the window in the tiny kitchen. Her eyes scanned the apartment, from the dirty dishes in the sink to an overflowing garbage can to the clothing scattered around the apartment. It took superhuman strength not to retch. She'd heard about her uncle's depression, but never expected this. Uncle Leo, I need your help. Something's wrong. Graham's will should have been settled ages ago. That Carl guy's up to something. I can feel it. I need you to. What do you want from me, Gwenny? I can't do anything about this. Your Graham and I were not on the best of terms for years. Remember? I'm done with it all. You can't be, Uncle Leo. Graham told me everything before she died. You may believe she cut you out of her life, but I don't. All I'm asking for is Gwenny. I told you I can't. You can, Uncle Leo. I know about your past. You're a professional. I know you can get to the bottom of this. He put his hands on her shoulders and looked into her eyes. I'm not that man anymore. Stifled memories flooded his mind. Images of his partner, bloodied and beaten, dead. His wife, even his dog, all because of one moment of misjudgment. He should have known. There was no coming back from that. He'd tried. He'd lost his nerve. When that happens, you become a throwaway to the agency. No damn good to anyone. From NSA operative to useless old hack, working divorce scandals to pay the rent, diminished any trace of past successes. Gwen broke his reverie. Uncle Leo, this is really important. We both know Graham wanted her property to stay in the family. It's where we shared our lives. I know she didn't want it to fall into the hands of some imposter claiming to be Grandpa's son. Who the hell is he anyway? Where did he really come from? I can't sleep at night wondering what kind of scheme he's cooking up. Sorry, lost my place. Okay, what kind of scheme he's cooking up? Her uncle slumped in the chair. How many times? Stop, Uncle Leo, stop. You can't give up on us now. You can fix this. I know you can. You can't give up on yourself. You can't give up on me. You can't give up on us. You can't give up on Graham's desire. She's your own mother, for Christ's sake. And you can't give up on yourself. Leo shrugged his shoulders, exasperated. I suppose I could try, but don't expect. Gwen beamed with joy. She reached out to give her uncle a hug, but pulled back, repelled by the body odor. I'll tell you what, I took the day off from work, so you go take a shower and I'll see if I can make a dent in this crap heap you created. Then we can grab some lunch and put our heads together. A half-hearted smile covered his trepidation and dread as he shuffled off to the shower. He wondered what the hell he'd been thinking. Leo emerged from the bathroom looking like a new man, showered, shaved, dressed in jeans and a polo shirt. The new man, however, was only on the outside. Inside, he was a wreck. Well, aren't you a sight? Gwen grinned. I've had a brilliant idea. It's so gorgeous out. I thought we could drive to Graham's for a picnic. We could stop at the market and pick up some sandwiches and soda. On their way to the family homestead, Gwen brought Leo up to speed about the contested will and Carl, who claimed to be her grandfather's illegitimate son, aka Leo's half brother. They pulled into the drive and up a small incline. Before them was Gran's house. They boarded up the windows when she was moved to a nursing home. The old house looked abandoned and forlorn. Their hearts ached to see the state it was in. Before they could spread the blanket for their picnic, the weather suddenly turned. Dark, threatening clouds filled the sky. Flashes of light illuminated the clouds. Oh no, Uncle Leo. Should we grab everything and go back to the car? With a big grin, Leo dangled a key from his keychain. They scooped up the picnic and sprinted to the door, dodging big drops of rain. They opened it. They stood in the darkened entry. An eerie sensation ran through them as they stood in the living room. Gwen turned on her phone's flashlight. Its beam of light penetrated the darkness as it scanned about the room. It was just as they'd left it, or so she thought. Furniture covered with throws, lamps, curtains, and books on the shelves. Concern showed on Leo's face. Somebody's been here. What? Apparently, Gwen thought, he'd not lost his spy sense. Give me your phone. He directed the light to the floor. Cigarette butts had been ground out on the hardwood. Bastards, Gwen spat. Leo directed the light to the kitchen. Scattered papers and a lantern were on the table. Beer cans littered the counter. Gwenny, we gotta get out of here. They could be back at any time. On the drive home, Leo interrogated Gwen for every detail about Carl, how many times they'd talked, any paperwork that he'd shown to back up his story. When they arrived at Leo's apartment, he looked at his watch. It's 3 now. I gotta get ready. Come back for me at dusk. We're doing a stakeout tonight. If they show, we wait till they leave and go in. Bring lots of coffee. It could be a long night. Leo jumped in the car when Gwen arrived. He looked like a bum with wrinkled cargo pants and a stained sweatshirt. Dismay showed on her face. Leo laughed. It's my cover. Let's boogie. A mashup of anxiety and anticipation permeated the atmosphere in the car as they drove. Stop. Back in here. Leo pointed to an overgrown, deserted driveway into a vacant lot. How did you know? Leo smiled. Surveillance, Gwenny. You gotta have your eyes everywhere. Gwen nodded as she pulled the car back far enough to give them cover and part. From a pocket in his cargo pants, Leo produced a night vision viewer and surveyed the house across the street. There's someone there, all right. We might as well settle in. How about some coffee? They drank coffee and watched until a car emerged from the driveway of the house and turned down the road. Let's go. Take nothing with you. He pulled two small flashlights from another one of his pockets and handed one to Gwen. I gotta get some of these pants like that, Uncle Leo. I'll never need to carry a purse again. Back in the house, it seemed not much had changed. Uncle Leo went straight to the table and started taking pictures of the papers with a tiny camera that had emerged from yet another pocket. He meticulously put each paper back in its place, then dusted everything with some sort of powder. The dust was so fine and applied so lightly it couldn't be detected. The sound of crunching gravel alerted them. Uncle Leo looked at Gwen as he pushed her to the coat closet. Quiet. They're back. Go all the way to the end. If they check in here, I'm going out. I'll cause a distraction while you sneak out the back, okay? She nodded, terrified. Her uncle shoved the contents of his pants pockets into the pockets of old coats left in the closet. He took the tiny camera and crushed it under his foot. They waited, motionless. The men were arguing as they stormed into the house. Okay, Carl, we got to close this deal now. The client's tired of waiting. You got a court date Tuesday. Where's that bogus DNA test? You better not have lost it, because I ain't paying another 10 grand to get a new one. There was the shuffling of papers. Here, I got it, Bobby. Let's go. They were almost at the front door when Leo's stomach growled loudly. He looked at Gwen and gulped down the contents of a whiskey nip he pulled out of his pants. The men stopped short. Was that you? Bobby asked Carl, who shook his head. The two men dashed to the closet door. Leo stepped out, hands in the air. Sorry. I just needed a place to sleep. I don't mean no harm. He slurred his words. Just let me go. His breath reeked of alcohol. He stumbled around, creating a distraction, as Gwen slipped away unnoticed. Bobby grabbed Leo by the arm. You ain't going nowhere, bud. You heard too much. Carl, go get the stuff from the car. We'll do the deed tonight. Leo was hogtied to a chair. Carl returned and put a can of gasoline in front of him. The ropes that bound Leo's hands and feet bent him over, forcing him to face the can. He panicked when he realized they were going to torch the place with him in it. His eyes bugged wide open. But what about the house? Carl smirked at him as he gagged the terrified man in the chair. This acquisition ain't got nothing to do with the house. It was gonna be leveled one way or the other. They just want the land to develop, putting in some fancy schmancy condos. As he spoke, he dipped the end of a fuse into the can, securely fastened and capped it. Love me a good fire, he grinned, unrolling the fuse all the way to the back of the house. And guess who's gonna be blamed for the vandalism? Some drunk old vagrant. Hell, I can probably get insurance money out of this as well. Bobby called out to Carl. Let's get the hell out of here. How long till this thing blows? Bobby called out. Oh, sorry. Well, Bobby, I got about 300 feet. Burns about 4 seconds a foot. I figure that'll give us around 20 minutes. We'll be in the next county, innocent as babes when it blows." Bobby smirked at Leo. "Well, you got plenty of time to say your prayers." Leo hung his head and considered the irony. At the beginning of the day, he wanted to kill himself but couldn't. Now all he wanted to do was live, but he can't escape inevitable death. Carl lit the fuse, and the men dashed out of the house. The only sound was the sizzle of the fuse as it burned closer, 4 seconds a foot closer to the end. "Okay, God," Leo prayed. "Guess this is it. Maybe it's for the best. Maybe now I can forgive myself for causing the deaths of... Maybe this evens the score." Tears ran down his cheek. The front door opened and Gwen came barreling in. "Uncle Leo!" She yanked the gag off of him. "Get out of here, Gwenny. This place is gonna blow, and I will not let the death of another person I love happen." "I'm not leaving you here, and we're not gonna die." She pulled the Swiss Army knife she'd retrieved from the coat where Leo had stashed it and sawed at the rope. The sparks from the end of the fuse came closer and closer as she struggled, unsuccessfully, to release him. An eerie wind whistled through the room. It sounded almost like a whisper. And the fuse went dead. It made no sense. Wind does not stop fuses. Leo figured with gratitude. It must have been defective. The knife finally cut through the rope. As soon as he was free, Leo removed the fuse from the can, which he capped and grabbed in case the intruders returned. They ran from the house to the car. They hopped in the car. Gwen produced 2 whiskey nips she'd retrieved and handed one to her uncle. "Mission accomplished," she said as they clinked the bottles and downed their contents. "What now?" "What say we take a run over to the police station?" "But we don't have any evidence. They took everything with them." Her uncle smiled. "No problem, Gwenny. I got pictures." "Well, you did, but you destroyed the camera in the closet, remember?" "Not to worry, Gwenny. They're in the cloud, waiting for me to access them on my computer. And then there's the matter of the spy dust." "Spy dust?" "Yep. The powder I dusted is what we in the business call spy dust. You can't see it, but it shows bright red under infrared light." A wide grin spread across his face. "And they don't have a clue." "Just look at you, Uncle Leo. You said you couldn't, but you sure did. Let's get to the police station." Gwen pulled the car onto the road. "Uncle Leo, when the fuse went out and that weird breeze blew through, did you hear anything?" Uh, well, what did you hear?" "I swear, it sounded like, 'Love you, my boy.' Is that what you heard?" Uncle Leo just nodded his head as a tear fell from his eye. "No, Uncle Leo, maybe we could go into business together like Spies Are Us. What do you think?" The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope the judges enjoy it. Like I say, it doesn't matter. I already won because I finished what I started. So take that with you for the day, and I will look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise. Bye bye.